Welcome to African Voices. I'm Mari Topo, and our changemaker this week is international pop star Akon. He's sold millions of records and made numerous hits for himself and other artists. But these days, he's making headlines for his ventures outside of music, including his plans to build his own city in Senegal. We'll see what it took to secure that deal and show you why he's still held in such high regard in the music industry.
To develop in Africa, that concept has sparked from the moment I put out my record. You know, I was always thinking the day I get big or the day I can be of an influence or have some kind of, power to make some decisions in Africa, I want to go in and start developing. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Akon, and I am literally building the future for Africa. I'm a change maker. You know, when you're doing things like this, people always look at it as super or too ambitious. But every great idea starts with an idea.
In September, pop star and musical entrepreneur Akon was in Senegal to officially unveil the designs for his boldest idea to date, Akon City.
It was funny because Akon City was talked about as a conversation in 2010. And I was having a brief conversation with Atepa, who's one of the leading architects in Dakar. That big monument that you see in Senegal, he designed and put there. And he said, listen, man, I don't sing, I'm just an architect. If I was a singer, I'll be trying to create Akon City. And I thought about that and I was like, you know what, he's right. As many people as we impact in this world, and I'm trying to do good and create a more of a philanthropic folder for myself, that would be the ultimate, achievement, is to create a city that's not only going to house, thousands and hundreds of thousands of people, but also create jobs for hundreds of thousands of people, but also leave a landmark for myself from a legacy standpoint.
Akon, who was born in the United States but raised in Senegal, says the proposed multi-billion-dollar development will be comparable to modern cities like Dubai and Singapore.
The project itself is a $6 billion project on a 10-year construction build-out. We're going to do it in 3 phases. 3.5 years, phase 1 should be finished. And that consists of the hospital, the Akon Village Resort, the police station, fire station, and the basic infrastructure like all the roads, lighting, and everything like that. The residential also is a part of phase 1, which is condominiums, mansion resorts as well too. So by phase 1, we'll be able to accept and be able to welcome visitors into the city.
When all 3 phases are complete, Akon says the city will include a university, film studios, data centers, resorts, theme parks, and several other large projects. For now, Akon City is nothing but land. 2,000 acres of coastal greenland south of Senegal's capital city, Dakar. Acquiring the land was a crucial step that required getting the president of Senegal, Macky Sall, to see Akon's vision.
We want to also be able to have a maintenance situation where the locals are the ones that maintain the city, and all the jobs that's created will be created for the young generation that's coming forward.
But for the beginning, I give you advice to check the company who can do this kind of business.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So yeah. If you don't want to lose time.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, so we want to believe me. It's actually purchased land, but it was gifted to me because that land originally was allocated for something else. I think the confidence he has in me has to do with a lot of things. One is because when I first approached to do lighting, it was clear that I had no lighting in my background. So it was almost like, I'm not quite sure if he knows what he's doing, but I don't think he's dumb enough to put his name on the line and destroy everything he's built for something he knows that he can't deliver on.
He's referring to Akon Lighting Africa, the business he co-founded in 2014 to provide solar-powered lighting solutions to off-grid locations in Africa.
So Akon Lighting Africa actually is what's sparking everything that you're seeing now. The goal was, okay, now that we have pilots in 16 countries, now let's start building actual cities that Akon Lighting actually will power.
Before he could begin building his first city, there were other people he needed to convince.
So we're here in Woodrin. This is actually the village right next door to where we're gonna build an Akon City. I came to talk to the elders, get their blessings, and also, you know, just make sure that they're involved.
And welcome to this village that will soon be yours.
There was projects there for projects to be put in that area in the past that didn't really formulate well because they didn't go through the proper procedures as to get into the, you know, following tradition. And me being Senegalese, naturally, you always want to go and consult your elders, you know, your spiritual advisors, and more than anything, the community in that area. So the whole idea was to go meet with them, give them a full synopsis of the project on how it would impact them in every way, and then just get their blessings and get their prayers to be able to move forward. What we're going to do within the next 90 days, we're going to get the project manager for the facility that you guys, the creation, the youth creation, and we're going to finish the project for you guys.
Oh, really?
Townspeople seem to welcome the plan, providing that the city will be beneficial to the town, as Akon says it will.
We hope that everything which was said gonna happen. Why we want the project? Because the youth here, they need jobs. And this project is an opportunity to open for jobs. And it will help because the village, there are some places where you don't have electricity, you don't have power. We hope that Akon is going to light all the village.
Yeah, so now we're at the actual site of where the city is going to be built. So you can kind of see this whole land, everything, the water, the whole site.
Akon has no history of developing large-scale projects like this. There are many who doubt he can create something that's being compared to the city in the Black Panther movie.
I love the movie and I embrace the fact that they're calling it the real life Wakanda because I felt the movie gave people the hope and the idea that something like this could possibly one day be real, you know? And I think the first thought of making a dream come true is honestly getting to the mind of those who need to believe that it can actually happen. Now these designs are very eclectic, and they're shaped like statues. You know, similar to when a tourist come to Africa and they go through the airport and they buy the statue to take home with them. That's what the buildings look like. I honestly believe that it's 100% doable. And from my advisors, that's been a part of the architectural structure as of right now, and all the specifics and all the key, you could say, technical aspects. Everything seems more than doable at this point. So I'm just excited to get it all up and running.
Good, bro.
Good.
Akon says he has raised $4 of the $6 billion needed to fund the project. He says confidentiality agreements prevent him from disclosing most of his investors.
Right now, the major partners that we have are all private. One of our biggest donors is the Mwale Medical Center out of Kenya. And Julius Mwale is the owner of that. His dream was always to build a medical city, a renewable medical city. He actually started his construction in Kenya and has been doing it for the last 3 years. So he came on board, and he has a family practice that actually does a lot of investment throughout Africa as well, who helped kind of bring in the funding for the $4 billion that we've actually secured at the moment.
After witnessing all the suit-wearing, sales pitches, and political glad-handing, it's easy to forget that this is a world-famous pop star. But all you have to do is take a trip with the artist to be quickly reminded. And we did just that.
You are all looking absolutely beautiful.
In July of 2019, Google hosted an event in Lagos, Nigeria to celebrate the accomplishments of several Nigerian musicians. There was also one non-Nigerian recording artist invited to acknowledge his contributions to the industry.
I want to tell a testimony about what this man has been doing overseas for the African cause, behind the scenes, without asking for credit.
Make some noise for Akon, ladies and gentlemen.
They actually caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting it. That's why I was like, I didn't know what to do. But I mean, I guess they were just acknowledging, you know, the impact that I have contributed to the community itself. Hold on, let me explain.
He's normally humble, but the man raised in Senegal couldn't help but to defend his country in a long-running West African debate.
Now, Nigerians, you guys are good. I give you credit. The jollof rice I just tasted, I loved it. I give you credit. But Senegal, we are the creators of jollof, so we're not in the conversation.
I'm not talking about the history of jollof rice. I'm saying which one is the best. Okay? So which one is the best?
Listen, I come this far by knowing which battles to fight and which to stand back. I will stand back.
We followed Akon for a couple of days during this trip to Lagos, and the respect he garners in the biz was evident almost everywhere.
Here's a guy that never forgot where he came from and continues to redefine what it means to be an artist, what it means to be a husband, what it means to be a dad, what it means to be a very creative and inspirational person to us all.
There's no remixing the fact that Akon was way ahead of everybody in regards to understanding, communicating how critical African music is going to be to the world.
Akon is very familiar with Nigeria and the country's popular Afrobeats music scene. He says he helped several of the genre's heavyweights, including Davido and Wizkid, early in their careers.
What I saw in Afrobeat back then was the culture of it. You know, I saw how it was really similar to how it was in the Western world. You know, like how the younger kids were dressing, how they was mimicking melodies from the other side and bringing it over. But the twist was it was a African rhythm of it that you couldn't really escape, you know, and that's the part I was really engulfed in, because at that time I was trying to expose more African music to the Western world. I spent more time in Nigeria to help to build the idea of what this could be. And then after building the Afrobeat scene in Nigeria, I came to the States, had long conversations with, you know, record companies here, trying to sell them to this now. I'm like, yo, this is now's the time we need to do this. Let's create a big venture and just for Africa only. But they couldn't see the vision at the time. The UK actually beat them to it. You caught me in a bad place, and it's you that I had to face, yeah.
Akon and the US labels may have missed on that opportunity, but it inspired him to one day take a shot at creating his own style of Afrobeats music.
Okay, right now,
Akon was finishing up his first Afrobeats album titled Akonda, which he released in October of 2019 under his iconic record label.
Hey, give me that bong bong. This is right here is the legendary Spells, a major super producer out of Nigeria. Actually, me and him did some records in the earlier days when I was working with Wizkid. I only lie to you, baby girl, to protect your feelings. The creative side is the funnest part, you know. It just come effortless for me, you know. So, and that's the part when I realized that I was born to do this, because I know there's not too many people that can just go in the studio and just come up with a song from the moment they hear the track. You know, I thank God every day for that blessing, for sure.
Akon is making the most of his time while in Nigeria. His plan was to film 2 music videos out here, but he underestimated how fast word would spread that he was filming in the city.
I would say the fanfare, as being a celebrity, it doesn't really bother me. Like, honestly, it's a reminder of who I am and my responsibility, believe it or not. I always welcomed it. I mean, I like to be with the people all the time. If I can, I mean, I can't even be on stage past 20 minutes without jumping into the crowd. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I love it, man. And it's that thing that shows and reminds me of how many people in the world are supporting what I'm doing. I think the security don't understand that the people are only hostile because you're preventing them. Like, I don't see my fans as a threat. You know, they're only here and rushing to get to me because of the love, and they just want to touch you, they want to say hello, they want to take a picture. But when you have security preventing them from that, and then the security becomes a little more hostile as to how they're doing it, it turns their love into hate. for the security, and that could become a problem for me. So oftentimes I always make the security back up. It's becoming to the point where it's a new experience every day on reminding me on why, you know, I'm doing what I'm doing. Because sometimes we get to the point where we actually forget why we even here or what our main purpose is. And I think those moments remind me that I'm working for the people and not myself, you know.
The next day, they were able to get a closed location to film the music video Low Key.
Low Key is more like, you know, this beautiful African woman that I'm chasing to an extent. And we never tell whether she's taken or not. What the whole idea is, regardless of what's happening, you know, I just want to be with that on a low key.
Akon's foray into Afrobeats is part of a larger vision for the man who has done record deals with artists such as Lady Gaga and T-Pain.
I think the one thing that I haven't accomplished that I always wanted to accomplish was to create a genre-free brand. You know, I think the music industry still divides themselves by genres. And I think that music has now crossed over in a way where the genre doesn't matter anymore.
Think of your heart and not your pocket. Oh no, oh no. If you sell yourself, girl, it's hard to stop it. Oh no.
It'll create more opportunities for newer artists to actually get big breaks. And I think it actually gives the musician more freedom as well too, to experiment and do other things.
Don't wanna copy.
It's already established that Akon is doing a lot of other things, but many don't know about the strong belief system he leans on to give him confidence to make some of his big moves. We'll explore that next.
All right, so now we're gonna go into the guest house where I got the studio, and I got my sons in there working now. They're currently working on their projects. I got an entity that I created for them called the Foreign Billionaires, which is their entity. They own it 100%, and they'll be writing, producing, doing everything, content within it, even signing their friends through the process.
You don't really trust me. Oh no.
Get a little sneak peek of what they got going on. My little mini-me's. What y'all got going on?
Nothing much.
We good?
Flipping is the way it seems. Want me up. How did you flip?
Akon has 9 children, and it looks like a few of them are interested in following his footsteps in the music biz. The artist, who once spent time in jail and sang about being locked up, hopes his kids learn from his mistakes.
I think the hardest part for a kid in the beginning is to, you know, to realize that I'm famous even though I'm not famous. You know what I mean? Just being my son makes them famous. And as kids, as they grow older, the only thing they care about is friends. And my only thing to them was find and make sure you're hanging around all the right people. Because even from an example for me, they saw how I used to hang around with a whole bunch of thugs. And they see who I'm hanging around with today. And me showing them that transition, they kind of get that early and know that you got to come into this game already knowing the right people around you. My goal is to give them the best advice I can according to what I've ever been through, and just hope that they can utilize it if ever that experience in their life comes and they can apply it to it. So what I oftentimes tell them is, I'm never going to tell you what to do or what not to do, right? I'm just going to tell you what I think is the right direction according to what I've been through. And then you can take that information and apply whatever in that information that you feel applies to your life today the best.
I get a lot of criticism in this house. So, like, usually it came to a point, like, if there's a song that someone said, change this, I just start a whole new song and just hope what I did wrong in the last song I did right in the new one.
They all got their own vibe, but it's like a piece of me within their own self. And that's what I love about it, because when I hear it, it's like they all took my personality differently from a different perspective.
I need to love.
My faith and my family are like two of the most important elements in my life. You know, my family is why I do majority of what I'm doing today. And my faith allows me to be able to do it, you know. And I have these conversations with my family all the time, because they always look and be like, man, Con, you don't worry, man. Like, everybody's stressed out. Like, how are you not stressed? Like, I'm like, well, how are y'all stressed out about me? And I'm not even stressed out about me, you know?
Back in Senegal, Akon displayed that stress-free attitude the day before officially announcing Akon City.
This is the area where I was raised, so I'm here to see my spiritual advisor. His name is Sitting Mahi. He's the one I call on to when I need spiritual advice. And normally when you do projects this big or anything in life that you want to do that you need some spiritual guidance, there's a local spiritual advisor that you can get advice from. He's mine. I live by this 100% rule. I believe that everything that's happening in my life is happening with God's permission. And I don't question nothing. If it happened, it's because it's supposed to happen. There's a lot of words that I would like to speak in Wolof, but unfortunately Wolof don't have all the words.
When Akon was able to address a Senegalese audience at the site where his city is scheduled to start construction, it gave a sense of accomplishment to a man who has already accomplished so much in other areas.
Because one thing we know about Africa, there's been a huge misconception of what Africa is, how Africa was taught to people outside of Africa, and how people look at Africa from outside of Africa. Unfortunately, the media just never did us really well. And it's so much blessings here, it's so beautiful, it's so much opportunity that it's never really exposed. And we want to be able to expose that opportunity for everyone abroad to have confidence that they can invest here in Senegal. The feelings that ran through my body, man, announcing this was just, I was just proud of myself for sticking to it long enough. This was a 10-year thought process that just now beginning to coming into fruition. So it's like most people have these dreams, but they never reach it because they give up before they get there, you know? And I'm realizing that anything that may seem to be impossible from everybody else is going to take a lot longer to accomplish. And you just got to keep going at it. So when I saw the reception of everyone in the community, it only motivated me even more. And I also want to be able to accomplish that my legacy is built properly, you know, because I felt that I started my legacy in a very dark place. You know, my turning point was being locked up, and I felt that to this day, that's what saved me, you know, because it allowed me that time to think of what my future needs to look like. Is it going to be this room, or is it going to be that out there? And the wisdom to know the difference is something that you should pray for God for, because understanding the difference between the two, it just gives you a clearer path on which direction to go.
We'll be watching to see if Akon can make his dream city a reality. And I'm interested to know your thoughts about Akon City, so reach out on our social channels and let me know what you think. I'm Ari Toko, and I'll see you next week with more exciting changemakers.